Hello, audio fans and music listeners. My name is Gavin. I am your host here at the Audiophile Wannabe Show, where our motto is, whereas beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so too is sound in the ear of the listener. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about this guy right here. And no, I don't mean Mr. Kevin Deal or Mr. B.B. King, talking about that unit that Kevin has got right underneath his hands, which is the Primaluna EVO 300. And more specifically, why I decided to add a Primaluna EVO 300 all-tube preamp to my solid-state Cambridge audio system. And to answer that question, we actually need to go back in time to earlier last year when I got to hear Denny Burke's all-tube system. As you can see there in his living space or listening space, he has a Rogue amplifier on the far left, and I forget the tube preamp in the center, along with his Fluence turntable on the right. I believe the preamp was actually a VTL, but this is a picture that Denny sent me in his living space that I did get to enjoy and experience from the same listening position. But he's got some Silverline speakers there with the Kimber cables, and let me tell you, listening to that all-tube scenario was unbelievable. It was warm, it was lush, and it had a romantic sound to it that was something that I had never experienced before, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. However, I had also gotten spoiled the November before, which would have been a year and a few months ago, when I got to go out to Danny Ritchie's place and experience his system. So after hearing his system, I gained a newfound respect for clarity and detail that solid state can bring to the table. I had never heard anything like that, still haven't heard anything like that since, and it gave me a new respect for clarity and detail. So I was kind of in a quandary because I had fallen in love with the tubes, yet still had a preference and a respect in some sense for the detail that solid state could bring to the table. So if a guy wants to go in the direction of tubes to get that warm tube sound, which way does he go? Just in thinking through it, if you go with the tube amp, whatever tube amp you go with will be limited to the detail that that particular tube amp brings to the table. However, if you go with the tube preamp, then you can still get that warm, lush, romantic feel that tubes bring to the table, but sending that signal to your final amplified signal, you've got options at that point. You can get as detailed or as warm and tubey, whichever direction you want to go after that. So I decided to go with the preamplifier because you could still get that warm, lush sound, but then have options after the fact. So the question then became what preamp to go with. So after watching a number of videos and doing some research online, the choice actually became fairly clear. It was going to be the EVO 300 preamp for just a few reasons. Number one, the build quality and the parts are top tier. And number two, I realized that you could still get that warm, lush, romantic tube sound and maintain the detail because of the quality components that are in that unit. And number three, I realized that even though purchasing one of these units is an investment, it's also an end game preamplifier. And even though I haven't heard tiered preamplifiers that are far more expensive, I wouldn't be surprised if this unit is or sounds equally as good, if not better. So earlier I mentioned build quality and parts. Now let's take a look at parts and the features that come along with them. All right, so let's talk a little bit about what's in this unit. So you've got Swiss-made wiring, as you can see there, top-notch wiring in the EVO 300, along with some of the best Japanese resistors that are out there. And when you look at the capacitors, capacitors are a big deal. If you've watched any number of YouTube videos that are out there regarding sound quality and components and speakers and amplifiers, capacitors are definitely a huge contributor. And tinfoil or foil capacitors are where it's at from what I understand, and these are fantastic. And regarding the AC offset killer, so Primaluna actually winds their own toroidal transformers, and they have a little widget, this little widget right here called an AC offset killer, which minimizes sound from the noise floor as well to improve sound that could potentially come from a power transformer. And when I tried to hit this picture a while ago, I did inadvertently hit the video image, and so I got that off center. So I have no idea if it recentered or not. But if there's a change in location of just the the background, everything you're seeing, if it moved, you'll know why. But that's the AC offset killer right there that minimizes potential transformer sound. Okay, now back to this features sheet. After the AC offset killer, you can see the inputs themselves. The RCA inputs are super quiet on the back of the amp or the preamp, and it's also a dual mono configuration. So let me show you that right quick. Okay, this is from the bottom side, worm's eye view, so to speak, of the inside of the preamplifier, and as you can see there, it's basically a mirror copy from one side to the other, indicating that there are two separate signals in this unit. So you have a completely independent signal on the left and the right hand side. And moving on down the list, vacuum tube rectification according to Primaluna is even quieter than solid state, plus you have the benefits of point-to-point wiring, which is going to make it cleaner as well. And the last point to make is this Alps Blue Velvet potentiometer, which a mechanical potentiometer, especially of this quality, is going to color the sound far less than a chip-based volume control. And just going back to this photo right quick, this is the Kevin Deal from Upscale Audio, and if you haven't seen this video on this particular preamplifier, I just wanted to invite you to go ahead and check this out. You can look it up on YouTube. It is the Primaluna EVO 300 review with Upscale Audio, and that is Kevin Deal. I believe he is the owner. So to wrap it up real quick, why I decided to go with this particular preamplifier. Number one, instead of a tube amp or preamp, wanted to go with the preamp, as it is arguably the most important electronic, or the most foundational part of your electronics in your system, even though I would argue that the room itself in your soundstage is the most important component in your system overall as far as electronics go. Could be that the preamp is the next most important component. Number two, build quality in parts. And number three, super quiet while breathing that life-giving tube warmth and romantic type sound while maintaining the detail at the same time. And lastly, it's a great investment for an end-game preamplifier. And so the last thing to cover is, how did it actually impact the sound? Well, that's a very simple answer. I'm very happy to report that this preamplifier did add the warmth and that lushness that tubes can bring, and brought that to my Cambridge solid state system without losing any of the detail. I've taken the preamp out a few different times and listened to the AXR 100 just for other reasons, and have noticed that the detail is still there, but the Primaluna added the warmth and the richness that I had hoped for. So very happy there, no loss of detail, and it has been a amazing addition to this system. Matter of fact, I would say that it has really brought that AXR 100 to life, and has shown me exactly what that AXR 100 is capable of. So I'm very happy with the AXR in its performance because of the EVO 300. So there you go. I just wanted to throw that out there. It kind of seems to me a little odd, potentially, just looking at the setup, like someone just looking at my system for the first time might think, wow, that's kind of an interesting setup, a big tube preamp with a solid state system like that. What's the reasoning behind that? So for that reason, just in case any of you guys had that question in mind, there you go. And I hope that makes sense. And it would be fun just to watch Kevin's video just to see more about that preamp. So check it out when you get the chance. And again, thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck it out this far, put up with me. But I hope you have a great rest of the day. And if you did enjoy the content, hope you wouldn't mind liking the video and subscribing to the channel, as that will certainly help the channel to grow. But again, thank you so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Take care.